Winston Churchill was a man shaped by history and conflict. Born into privilege yet driven by insecurity, ambition, and an unshakable belief that destiny had chosen him for greatness. He was born in 1874 at Blenheim Palace, a place that symbolized British power and aristocracy, but his childhood was emotionally distant and lonely. His father, Lord Randolph Churchill, was a powerful politician who showed little affection, and his mother, Jenny Jerome, was socially active and often absent. From a young age, Churchill felt the need to prove himself to the world, a hunger that would later define his life. He struggled academically, failed several exams, and was often considered careless and undisciplined. Yet beneath these failures lived a restless mind, filled with imagination, confidence, and ambition. Churchill entered the military not only to serve Britain, but to chase glory. As a young army officer, he traveled to Cuba, India, Sudan, and South Africa, placing himself in dangerous situations to gain fame. He was not satisfied with being a silent soldier. He wrote articles, books, and war reports, turning battlefields into stages for his growing public image. His dramatic escape during the Boer War made him a national hero in Britain and marked the beginning of his rise to fame. At a young age, he had already achieved something most politicians only dream of: public recognition and admiration. His entry into politics came early. His career was marked by bold decisions and constant controversy. Churchill changed political parties twice, angering allies and enemies alike. Yet he always justified his actions as loyalty to Britain rather than to any single party. He served in multiple government positions, gaining experience and power, but also earning a reputation for recklessness. During World War I, his support for the disastrous Gallipoli campaign led to massive loss of life and forced him out of government. Many believed his career was over, but Churchill refused to disappear. He returned to the battlefield as a soldier, seeking redemption through courage rather than apology. The years that followed were some of the darkest of his life. He warned repeatedly about the growing threat of Nazi Germany while much of Britain ignored him. His views made him unpopular, and he was often described as a dangerous warmonger obsessed with conflict. Yet history would later show that his warnings were not madness, but foresight. When World War II finally erupted and Britain stood alone against Adolf Hitler, Churchill was called back to power, not because he was loved, but because he was feared, determined, and unbreakable. As Prime Minister, Churchill became the voice of British resistance. His speeches were not gentle or hopeful fantasies. They were brutal, honest, and filled with defiance. He spoke of blood, toil, tears, and sweat, and in doing so, he prepared the nation for suffering rather than comforting them with lies. His leadership style was aggressive and uncompromising, making him one of the most dangerous leaders of his time, not only to his enemies, but sometimes even to his allies. He believed survival justified extreme measures, and he made decisions that caused massive destruction in the name of victory. Churchill's wartime leadership saved Britain from collapse, but it also revealed the darker side of his character. He supported bombing campaigns that destroyed entire cities, accepted colonial policies that caused suffering, and showed little sympathy for populations outside Europe. His role in the Bengal famine remains one of the most controversial aspects of his legacy, where millions suffered, while resources were prioritized for war. To some, this makes him a hero of freedom. To others, a symbol of imperial cruelty. Despite his flaws, Churchill became a global icon. His cigar, his defiant gestures, and his powerful words turned him into a living symbol of resistance. He worked closely with world leaders like Franklin D. Roosevelt and Joseph Stalin, shaping the modern world through alliances forged in war. He understood power, psychology, and fear, and he used all three with mastery. This is why many consider him one of the most dangerous leaders in history, not because he sought destruction, but because he was willing to accept it if it meant survival and victory. After the war, Churchill was unexpectedly voted out of office, proving that even legends are not immune to public judgment. Yet his influence never faded. He returned as Prime Minister later in life and continued to shape global politics while also dedicating himself to writing. His books and speeches earned him the Nobel Prize in Literature. A rare honor for a politician, showing that his words were as powerful as his actions. Winston Churchill died in 1965, leaving behind a legacy filled with contradiction. He was brave yet ruthless, inspiring yet controversial, visionary yet deeply flawed. He rose to power through persistence, war, and belief in destiny, becoming famous not because he avoided danger, but because he embraced it. To supporters, he is the man who saved Britain. To critics, he is a reminder that power often comes with suffering. His life proves that history's most dangerous leaders are not always villains, but men whose decisions reshape the world forever.